All right, good. Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another special health focus Tai Chi and Qigong class. I like to ask my group before we begin the recording, is there anything you would like to focus on today? And today the request was for clarity of thought, so focus and awareness. And luckily, Tai Chi is full of that. It's a mindfulness practice. So, actually, you could argue that every single exercise that we do will help you with that. Um, but let's give you a few wee techniques, and I'll give you a little bit of a hack as well. So, not sure if that's a great word, but just a quick, um, not exactly a quick fix, but a quick way to access and improve clarity. Now, this one requires a little bit of focused dexterity. So if you're going to do it, it is incredibly potent. It works very well, but you have to do it accurately or you will not get the results. So watch me, please. I'm going to actually show you a little bit of a therapy that I do. So it's not technically Tai Chi, but we're using acupressure points. Um, it's called the Emmett technique, EMMETT, designed by a gentleman called Ross Emmett, who's an Australian. So this is pressure point work. And really, we want to think this is in fitting with Tai Chi. It's a similar concept, but each one of our fingers, it's like we have laser beams coming out of them. So our energy is directed by our fingers. So we know this of old, if somebody asks you directions, you will point in the direction that they should look or that they should go because it is directing energy, but it literally does direct energy. If you used sort of special camera technology with heat and all the rest of it, you would see that there is a kind of focus of energy at the tips of our fingers. Even heat is directed into a kind of stream at the tips of our fingers and indeed our toes. So with this little technique to help us to bring our minds into clarity, and actually it will also help with vertigo or dizziness, which is fantastic. If you're woo, you can do this, and within seconds you'll find the dizziness go away, or at least I have found that. So it's 2 points that you're going to hold, and you can hold until the dizziness goes or until you feel a little bit of clarity coming. Normally, I would say don't for more than 20 seconds. And excuse this as somebody comes in. So there are 2 points. The first and easiest point to find is the third eye point, and that is between the eyebrows and a little bit above. But the thing is, everybody's third eye, that pineal gland point is slightly different. So you will know by instinct where your third eye is. So when I'm doing this technique for a client, I will go to their third eye where I think it is, or I'll actually let them guide me in because they'll use their eyes and they'll track me in. But sometimes I'll even say to them, where am I on your third eye? And they'll go, nope, and they'll move me. Someone who may never have even thought where their third eye was, but they know instinctively where it is. It's the energy center for perception. So most people can tell you exactly where it is. So that's the first point. That's where mine is there, if you can see. And you can use any finger, but normally with Emmett technique, I'm not doing nasty signals, we use the middle finger because it gives you the strongest beam of energy. So you're pointing directly into your third eye, so perpendicular to the body. But please don't do that yet. Take your hand away because we need to line up the 2 points and hold them together. If you stimulate one point without stimulating the other point at the same time, we are not addressing the yin yang balance, and you could actually make yourself uncomfortable. But that's the first point. So when you go on to the point, I want you to use one finger and tuck all the other fingers away if you possibly can. So unless your arthritis is just for refusing to let you do that. So it's like the flipping the bird position. So I'm not going to do that. So like this, yes, not like this. So you're not pointing in random parts of your head. because remember, each finger directs energy. So that is very confusing for the body, whereas that, or that, you can stick your thumb out away from you, is very clear. You're sending one laser beam, you're directing the energy into one pressure point, and your body goes, ah, I see what you're doing. See what I mean? Rather than just brushing your fingers across a keyboard, that's very confusing for the keyboard. You are pecking at the points that you want to stimulate. So that's the first point. The second point is at the nape of the neck. Is that the right word? No, I'm not sure it is the right word. It's at the base of your skull where your skull and your neck meet. I'm trying to be very, very accurate because these are specific pressure points. And if you're not on the point, it won't work. So if you just use your hand, bring your hand to the back of your head and slide your hand down your head, and you will find the natural notch where the head and the neck meet. And right in the middle there, I find, again, the middle finger is easiest. You're going to point the finger in and point it directly towards your third eye. So it's not just in, it's up like this. So you have one finger, if you see from the side, one finger coming into the third eye and one finger pointing to the front finger, and you hold. And that is the full exercise, and you hold the 2 points. So again, think of the laser beams. It's really important that you get the direction correct. So it's not just touch your head in any direction. It has to, your finger has to go straight, pointing straight to the third eye. So if you can do that accurately, this will instantly, within seconds, you will find you are clearer. It's easier to think. It takes your head out of that bag, and it will help with dizziness. And you just hold it for up to 20 seconds and then gently come off. Okay, so do you see what we're doing? You engage both points at the same time. Don't hold one because that doesn't have yin and yang. We need both together to create the code, if you like, the energetic stimulus for your mind to come into balance. Let me show you again. Third eye, one finger, tuck the others away. You can stick your thumb out if you like, and connect up with the base of your skull in the middle, just where it meets the neck, and point to your third eye. You can slowly ease off. You do not need to push hard. Just touching these points is enough, and very gently you can come off. Very good. Now, sometimes you may feel that you can almost still feel that you're touching the points. It can be a little bit irritating. So we do a thing called making nice, which is just to sort of brush off the feeling that you're still touching. So what you can do for this practice, you can take your thumb to your crown, to your Baihui point, and your middle finger to the third eye, and just gently brush a couple of centimeters, let go, pinch, and lift off and release. Just open your hands. So that's making nice, that's called, and that just gives you a feeling of release. It's also a very nice little mental release on its own. You can do that if you're feeling a little bit tense. It's part of another sequence that we call the rescue. So a series of moves designed to give you relief. So I'll do that again. So you can take your middle finger to your third eye and your thumb to your crown and just brush just a little bit, just up to the hairline, let go, and then pinch like you're drawing a thread, lift and release. Very good. Okay. So do you all feel that you got that? What we were doing? Yeah. How do you feel? You can unmute yourself if you like. No, nobody wants to. Okay, I'm shy. All right, that's fine. No problem. So you can play with that. As I say, the angle is really important. So don't stick all your fingers in because that's too much information. It's lots of laser beams. We need one key point. What are you wanting to stimulate? third eye, the middle of the neck, sorry, the middle of the join between the head and the neck. And if that's, yeah, third eye, middle, and one points to the other. So you're pointing towards your third eye at the back and hold it for any length of time. You can do it as often as you like. I would say it's only really necessary maybe at the most 2 or 3 times a day. Having said that, if you have MS, MS is it affects the nervous system, and what has been observed with the Emmett technique is sometimes you would get a correction, you would get a move like that, and it would be effective, but it may wear off quicker. So if there is a disruption in the nervous system, then this kind of pressure point correction can wear off quicker. However, if you get a spinal balance protocol, so we have a spinal balance protocol in the Emmett technique. If you do that first, then any other treatments that you do after that, addressing any other issues, they tend to stay a lot better. So if you don't have Emmett technique near you, a nice therapy that may be very useful, especially for people with the likes of MS, maybe even fibromyalgia, you might look into craniosacral therapy, because it's helping the alignment and function of the nervous system through releasing, relaxing, and helping the spine to come into better attunement. So that might help you. So play with what we've just done. You have the recording, so you can refer back to it, or you will have the recording after we're finished today. So I find that is a really very, very useful thing if you're feeling head in the bag, you know what I mean? Just kind of like you haven't quite woken up, you can't think straight, maybe you're just struggling to remember names, or you just feel a bit kind of wishy-washy. What we've just done is very useful to just bring your mind into a nice, comfortable focus. But it's also very, very nice, as I say, for dizziness. So as a ballet dancer, I haven't been in ballet now for a few years, but I returned to ballet as an adult, having left it for a while, and I would do pirouettes, and I could still pirouette pretty well, not brilliantly, but pretty well. But I used to be able to cope with spinning like a top and didn't get dizzy. But now I can't. Now I get dizzy afterwards. So I would, do a beautiful move in the room, land, and then be groping for the wall until the room stopped spinning. And my husband actually said, well, why don't you do that Emmett technique? Oh, that's a good idea. So I finish my movement and then I go straight in for a few seconds, and then I'm clear and the dizziness is gone and it's great. But of course, the next time I do the spin, it happens again. That's more to do with that's something else, actually. I'll tell you really quickly because it's interesting. Children who learn ballet and spin, there's part of the brain that doesn't develop. And it's actually in the occipital lobe, in the back of the head, in around that area that we have just engaged. So that part of the occiput, that part of the brain does not develop, it stays small. And that part is to do with dizziness. So if you do ballet from a young age and you're spinning and spinning and spinning, the body goes, oh, well, it doesn't do to have a sort of dizzy reflex. So it just doesn't develop, which means that children who spin and spin and spin can continue to spin and spin and spin through their lives unless they stop doing the practice of spinning. And as soon as you stop, that part of the brain goes, okay, and starts to develop. And that's what happened with me. So when I left ballet for over a decade and then returned to it, I could no longer cope with spinning because that part of my brain had just grown normally, as opposed to have been subdued in order to allow me to to do that without without falling over. So yeah, isn't it interesting? The brain never stops growing. Did you know that? Your nervous system can develop and does develop, but only if you use it. So it's not just about neuroplasticity of keeping your mind nimble and able to do things. Actually, as you learn new traits, as you learn new practices, you grow new connections within your brain. You have lots of potential. We all have lots of potential within our brain, but there is a huge amount of our brain that sits dormant, doing nothing very much, waiting to be called on to come into play. And so every time we learn something new, we actually develop and grow. Just like learning a new physical practice, you'll develop new muscles, or your muscles will develop differently. The brain is the same. So I find great comfort in that. So even if you have damaged your brain, you can actually learn to use it differently and therefore adapt and thrive. So let us now get up and we'll do some physical stuff and see how you focus. If you want to sit down at any stage, that's absolutely fine. So we'll take right hand in fist, please, when you're ready. Good. Left hand straight and pull back the thumb. Feet together, hands together, and we salute. We press forwards. Excellent. Open stance. And regardless of what anyone asks me, basically this exercise is the bee's knees. This is straight into your mindfulness practice, where you're engaging the mind and the body and the breath. So you could do any number of exercises. In fact, all Tai Chi is mindfulness practice. But we start with this one because we're starting by moving our center. We want to develop our center. It strengthens us. It's helping to strengthen our core. It's helping gently mobilize your spine. So warming, relaxing, strengthening, loosening as well. These are all very good traits. But by swirling around in the center, we are fortifying the energy in our center. So it's like putting money in the bank. We are gently swirling around. I want you to feel and listen into your body as you do this, and breathe. And this is very useful. Mindfulness practice, when we're focusing on it, it's best to do simple, repetitive acts. So if you do any meditation class, one of the biggest things that people will say to you is follow your breath. If you do some relaxation classes, that's all you do. For however long the class is, you're following your breath. You're listening to it flowing in, you're listening to it flowing out. So you don't need any external tools, you don't need any exercise to help with mindfulness and focus. You can literally just listen to your breath. This is a slightly more complex action, that you're listening to your breath, and it's like you're swirling your breath around inside your hips. Let's change direction, please. Good, and keep going for a second. I see there's a reflection. Oh, that's better. Good. Okay, so we're on our second side. You may notice that there's little areas of tension or pain, or sometimes you'll even get a click, and it might be a regular click. Don't worry, whatever you're experiencing, be with it. Feel it, try to let go through it. If there is pain, then that's different. We need to adjust. So the biggest adjustment, or the easiest adjustment that tends to do the trick, is to make the movement slightly smaller. So if in doubt, do less. Okay, so this is the go-to exercise. This is what I want you to practice. Very good for clarity of thought, but it's just very good for everything. If there's arthritis there, if there's issues with the hips, this will help to lubricate the joints. It'll warm the fluid between the joints and make everything a lot easier to move. Good. All right, let's come back to center. Easing from your stance, we're going to do a little kick forwards and step down, keeping the feet parallel if you can, forwards and back. Good. Do you know, I have a feeling that first wee exercise I showed you is also quite good for headaches. And I'm saying that because I had a headache before we started and it's much better now. So that's a new one to the list of benefits of that exercise. Good, okay, and we're going to swap feet, please. Good. So gentle exercise and getting fresh air. So if you can go out and have a wee walk in fresh air, or even potter around the garden gently, good, up you come. That can also do wonders for clarity of thought. So if you're in a still air environment, just think of what's outside is also inside. So it'll be still in your mind as well. If you don't have fresh air, you're not getting fresh energy, and therefore you feel like cobwebs inside. Of course, diet can play a part as well. If you're living off of cereal or takeaways, that can play a part. You know, we are what we eat. So taking a lighter diet, fresh fruit, if possible, fresh seasonal and local foods, so that you're getting it as close to when they come out of the ground as possible. That's very useful as well. Let's sit down a little bit and we're going to do just a little rotation of one leg. Feel free to zone out of what I'm saying if you want to focus more on what we're doing. Breathe. Good. Now, Chinese medicine, they do talk about fresh local foods, but there's maybe not quite the same emphasis on that as in Ayurvedic medicine. That's the Indian medicine. And they talk about the different food types as having direct effects on the body. So if it's fresh, seasonal, and only lightly cooked, let's change direction, then that's best for us and our body responds well. If it's overly spicy or salty, then it tends to be overly stimulating for a system and can be irritating for a system. And if food has been sat for long periods of time, if it is stale, if it is old, if it is moldy, it will actually be truly detrimental. Think of the life force within food. As soon as it comes out of the earth or off the tree, or as soon as the animal dies, the life force starts to dwindle within that animal or plant. Good, up you come. And so people think of calories, don't they, and nutrients, but I want you to think of food as life force. So think of it as like in the Matrix, you know, when you see everything that's all very sparkly and code everywhere. If something is on the tree, it is full of life, it is sparkling and it's buzzing away with life force, with chi. Once it comes off the tree, that doesn't dissipate straight away, it's still there. So if you consume it straight away, you are consuming life force, and that will enrich your life force. But the longer that piece of fruit or meat or whatever it is goes after it has been taken from the earth off the tree, or if it has been slaughtered, the longer it goes, then the life force dwindles, 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 dwindles. So it may still have the calories, it may still have the nutrients, but it will not have the life force, and therefore you will feel sluggish. You will actually feel exhausted after eating stale or old food. It will not nourish our systems well. So please try to eat fresh if you possibly can. Good, let's ease from our stance. We're going to do a wee bounce and swing. Good, we're going to continue with our Chen style practice today. You notice the way I'm going bigger and bigger each time. I want you to feel your way and just do what you can comfortably. Let's change direction. Good. You can start small and go bigger. Good, and smaller again. So many things affect our mental clarity. In fact, you could say that our mental clarity is a good snapshot of how we are in general. If you are well in every way, you will feel clear and focused. If our bodies are struggling in any way, that may well affect our mental clarity. Not necessarily. If you know Stephen Hawking's, the amazing physicist. Oh, my internet isn't great. Hopefully you can still see and hear me. Yeah, can you see me, Pam? Yeah, okay. Yeah, Stephen Hawking's had a debilitating disease, so he ended up being trapped in his own body, and yet he was doing incredible physics through his mind. As a Tai Chi teacher, that seems almost impossible because he was all kind of twisted. And the way we think is if you have good alignment, you're going to function well. But if you're off in alignment, you're going to struggle even to think. So he was amazing off the scale that he could think so hugely, even with his body not functioning. So it is possible to override and rise above. But we want to help ourselves make it as easy as possible. Good. So let us do a little bit of stepping practice, please. So we'll come to one side. I've been playing with this in various ways, but we're just going to keep it very, very simple. So let's bring the feet together. We lengthen up, chin down and back. Breathe, calm, relax down. Notice your breath. And listen behind. Let's bring the awareness back to the room. Slowly, gently open the eyes. Let's bring the hands in front, just to rest on an invisible little table about waist height, and we'll release belly, hips, and knees. Now we're just going to roll forwards and back, filling the back. I know it's difficult because we've got our feet together. In fact, let's open our stance. That's fine. Open your stance. Roll forwards and back, filling your back a little bit, and release. So I'm kind of mixing up a little bit Master Locke's work and Master Chen's work, but that's okay. They are very complementary. Good. So I'm just doing this because I want to add it to the feet. So we're going to turn the waist just a little bit and expand, roll the hands round and come in. Turn the waist, gently expand. Good. Now less is more. I want you to only turn a little bit. So you're not going to the side. You're just framing one foot and fill your back, expand. Turn to frame the other foot and come in and turn. And again, expand, roll and come in. Good. Expand, roll and come in. I'm giving you this exercise. It's very good for all that ails you, but it's going to help you balance as you step. So we're going to do this and step at the same time. Ready? So we're going to expand to your right and step to your left, just a little bit. Roll around and come in. Draw in, turn, expand and step, roll around and come in. Expand and step, come in, expand and step, and come in. Now we're going to change direction. Now you maybe noticed, maybe not, that when we step, we're going to step with the heel. Normally I wear white socks, but today it's black socks, sorry about that. So it's maybe not so clear contrast, but I'm stepping with, if you see here, I'm stepping with my heel first. I'm not stepping with my toes first. And this is a stylistic thing. We're doing Chen style at the moment, and Chen style always, if you're going sideways, steps with the heel first. But be careful not to go like this. Do you see the difference? That's tension. We just want to very gently kiss the ground with the heel, and then the rest of the foot relaxes straight away. So let's try it on the other side. We're going to expand, come around and in, and let's step with the heel, relax the foot, and come in. Step with the heel, and come in. Step with the heel. Good. Let's do it again. Change direction, step with the heel, and come in. Breathe. Heel, and change, step with the heel. Now, if you literally couldn't step with the heel, no worries, you can step with the toe. Nothing bad will happen. It's just a stylistic choice. And rest. Well done. Take a breath. Good. Now, these are simple building blocks, but it really helps when we do them a lot to understand, to get the body moving. And again, for mental clarity, the easiest way within Tai Chi is to do simple exercises. You can focus on simplicity, but as soon as we're doing something complex, it can be overwhelming. Funny thing though, I have had one student who has, I guess you could say, extreme type A personality. Her mind fizzes all the time. And when I tried this approach of giving simple exercises to calm and focus her mind, it did the exact opposite. She was the yang to the yin, you know. So I found actually I would throw an entire form at her, having never done it before, and that silenced her mind because she had to focus. Her monkey mind, if you like, all of that sort of hyperactivity was all swallowed up because she was able to she had to focus on this, and this. And so her intelligence didn't run amok because it got bored, basically. So for the most part, I find people, if your mind is a bit foggy, if you can't focus, simplicity is the thing that brings you there. For some people, that doesn't work, in which case then you do complex. Yeah, and if you're focusing on something complex, there's no room in your mind to be daydreaming, floating away, fizzing about other things. So again, it's yin and yang. Right, now let us do some arm movements. So for the last couple of weeks, we've looked at single hand and single hand stepping. So the question is, do you want to revise that? Thumbs up if you do. Okay, a few ones, and I don't mind. I like that. I don't mind. Good. Okay, so let's revise single hands and single hand stepping. You can never do too much. You know, I was explaining this the other day that Tai Chi training is cyclical. It's like a spiral. So you start from the beginning and you get more and more and more complex, and you hit a peak, and then in order to improve, you have to come full circle and return to the simple basics, and that will propel you to go higher and so on You have to return to basics to go higher. So the way I see it is like if you're making a building, if you're making a bungalow, you don't need deep foundations. But if you want to make a 2-story house, you have to go deeper into the foundations. They're simple, but you have to do more. And if you want to make a skyscraper, you have to do a lot of foundation work. So this stuff does not get old, hopefully. So let's try. Ready? Let's lengthen up, top of head, chin slightly down and back. Release, relax, and calm your body. Calming down. And listen behind. Allow that feeling of quiet and calm to stay with you as you practice. So we're going to release belly, hips, knees. Taking the right hand, I'm mirroring you, right hand to waist, left hand extends forwards, look to the side and step. So we want our feet parallel. You can go a bit wider than shoulder width. Make it comfortable. So we start with movement 3. We turn, palm flips over, good, and careful not to reach across. So you are sliding up the invisible center line barrier from here to here. The only difference is we're turning the waist. So if I left out turning the waist, I'd be doing this. It looks like I'm reaching across myself, doesn't it? But I'm not, I'm turning my waist. So turn the waist, turn the palm. That's movement 3. Movement 4, we glide across into the shoulder, then into a pokey elbow, unfold to hand and fingertips. And notice the forearm is extending forwards. Good. Now release, shoulder and hip, little finger edge turns, the hand comes down to waist height and glide across, palm faces up. Repeat. So we turn, feet across, turn, feet across. It's a subtle practice. Notice I'm square to the front here. I haven't turned yet. So square to the front and then turn. And as we shift the weight across, we square to the front and then turn. Square to the front as we shift across and turn. Square and turn. Listen to your body. Keep breathing. Good. Now in class the other night, I spent quite a lot of time talking about not the working hand, but the hand that's on the hips. So let's change. So make sure the hand on your hip is not like this. You see what I just did? I'll come forwards. So the hand on the hip should be comfortable, relaxed. There is a curve, but not a collapse. So if you collapse, it's like kinking the hose pipe and that will begin to hurt. That will be very sore very quickly. So it's smooth, calm, relaxed. You're going to the smallest part of your waist. There's a curve, but not a collapse. You see that? And we want to make sure that the shoulder hasn't added something kinky or high. We just want to let it relax as well. So if that is in a good position, then you'll be more comfortable and your energy will be able to flow around your whole system. So even though it's sitting still, it's still actively part of the structure. Okay, ready? We keep going. So we turn and we feed across, palm facing up, and we turn and we feed across and turn. Keep breathing and turn. Very nice. So this is not an arm movement. Oh, you're going, she's crazy. It's an arm movement. No, it's not. All Tai Chi is a center movement. We are turning from center, and that simply drives the body and the arms into position. We guide them into position, but all the effort, all the power of the movement is coming from the center. And that's not some esoteric mumbo jumbo. Literally, we're keeping our structure of the body and we're pivoting from the center point. So it's a bit like cogs in the clockwork. And that means that we are incredibly strong with absolutely no need to use muscles hardly at all. Because structures are strong. Good structures are strong. If you're out of alignment, no matter how strong your muscles are, you will be weak. It's just the nature of the beast. So keep your structure. We stay upright, we relax, and feel your way. And if you're not sure, how do I know if my structure is right? How do I know if I'm moving from center? Well, if your arm is hurting at this stage, you're not moving from center. If your arm is hurting, you're moving your arm with your arm muscles. If you're moving from center, your arm can be as relaxed as you like, and it will be strong. Very good. So it looks simple, doesn't it? But this is a lifetime's worth of work right here. Just this one exercise. Good. Feet across and bring the foot in. Lovely. And relax. Good. Ease from your stance. You can give your shoulders a wee circle. I'm reminded of Yehudi Menuhin. I'm sure you've heard of him, maybe not, but he was a very famous violin player, classical violin player. I think he played a Stradivarius, so the best of the best human player was playing the best of the best quality violin. But he did yoga, and he would stand on his head for 10 minutes before he would go out into the audience to play. So if you want clarity and lots of energy in your head, you could stand on your head for 10 minutes. I can't stand on my head for 5 seconds. I just can't do it. That's a bit extreme for me. No. But when he played for practice, his way of tuning his mind and tuning his skill, he would play one note on the violin, and he would just continuously play this one note, and he would listen to it, and he would tinker with it. He would, tweak it until it sang really, really well. And that was his way of fine tuning himself. Whereas a lot of virtuoso performers might play their most difficult piece to get themselves feeling that they were doing well. For him, he went to the most simple thing. It wasn't even Three Blind Mice. He went to one note, and this is the equivalent. In fact, everything we've done today has basically been the equivalent of doing one note to give you clarity, to give you focus. So I hope you enjoyed that. All right. Let's see. I'm going to show you what we're going to do next, which is not so simple. It is simple in a way. We're not going to do it today. I'm just going to show you it to showcase it, and then we will do it next week. But it is double hands. So we've done single hands. We didn't do single hands stepping. We'll do that next week as warm-up. Now we're going to do double hands. Or rather, I'm going to show you double hands. So with this, we prepare, and we engage both hands. And we're doing circles forwards and up, back and down. In fact, we might do a wee bit today. We can give it a go. So if I show you from the side, it looks like this. So can you see that though both arms are engaged, they are working as one? And that's a secret to Tai Chi. Once you see it in its full glory, it looks incredibly complex. And yet we want a feeling of unity. So the energy flows around our body as one. So both arms are moving, they're both doing different things in a way, but they're moving as one. And that gives you clarity. So let's try it together, shall we? You maybe were already joining in, and that's wonderful, good stuff. Okay, so I'll show you what to do. So we bring our feet together, we lengthen up, the chin slightly down and back, and calming down. Notice we always do this. First, just become quiet and still. Now we're going to lift 1 foot toes. You could do it either side to begin, but if you lift your right toes, your right side, lift the toes and turn the body and put the foot down. I definitely will wear white socks next time because you can't see the black on black. So we've turned to about 45 degrees. There's different ways of doing it. You could turn to 90 degrees, but we've just turned, lifted the toe, turned the center and put it down. Actually, could we do that a couple of times? Because that's a really good example of what I was saying about moving from center. Let's do it wrong. So if we just face front, feet together, could you lift your right toes and just turn your right toes out and put them down? Now, hopefully that wasn't painful or difficult, but did you notice that it wasn't anything like as easy as moving from center? Do it again. So lift your toes, turn your toes, put them down. Okay, now bring it back. This time, lift your toes, turn from center so your whole body is turning and it brings the foot with, and put the foot down. Do you see the difference? Try it again. So square up, lift the toes, turn your whole body from your center, turn, and let that bring the foot with, and then put the foot down. Okay, now do it the wrong way again. Lift the toes, turn the toes out and down. Okay, so one way we call using Li, and the other way we say we're using Qi. So Li means muscle power. So you were using your leg muscle to turn the foot out. So your leg muscles may be strong, but they're not as strong as your core. So the second way we were using Qi, which means life force, but it's really your intent with a bit of cleverness, using a center pivot point, everything becomes easy. I always think of trying to lift the lid off a tin of paint with my fingers and then using a screwdriver or a spoon. So much easier when you use a lever. So that's what we're doing. We're using a lever. We're turning from our center. So we lift our toes, we turn our center, we put the toes down. So now we're facing the corner. We sit down, release, relax, belly, hips, knees. Float the arms up in front of you. Now these are asymmetrical, so you may not be able to see, but the hand closest to me should be facing up. The hand closest to your back corner should be facing down. See that? One up, one down. This is called yin yang palms. One up, one down. Yeah, that's a coordination thing. So don't worry if it takes you a second. Now step towards me with a little bit of width. So you're not going absolutely straight. You're stepping towards me, and your front foot should be pointing forwards. Good. Now turn towards your back foot just a little bit and let your hands flip over. Both hands flip over. Feed forwards, bring your hands under, turn, roll, hands over. Please don't think about this, just do it. Feed your weight back, hands in front of shoulders, and turn towards the back, bring the arms down. Do it again, feed forwards, and circle up, feed back, and circle down. Now keep going. It's a bit tricky to show you on a screen, so I'm going to show you it sideways on forwards, roll up, back, roll down. So yes, it's complex, but can you see there is simplicity in it as well? We're doing a circle. Both hands are circling. Forwards, turn to the front, roll up, back, turn to the back, roll down. Forwards, turn to the front, roll up. Keep those shoulders absolutely relaxed. Don't even think of the upper arms moving. They're barely moving. It's really the lower arms are doing most of the work. Feed the weight back and relax down. But the pivot is from the center of your body. Back, relax down. Good. Okay, so we've had a taste of double hands today. And if you thought, crikey, this is so difficult, don't worry, it gets easier. Or it gets more familiar, so it gets easier. Good, well done. Let's feed the weight forward this time and bring your back foot in. Beautiful, well done. You've worked really hard today, folks. I know I've talked a lot. So what you can do, use the video, just turn me onto mute so you can follow the movements. And when I'm talking and not moving, you can do any exercise. You can sit down and have a cup of tea. But just take it at your own pace. You never have to do an entire video. You can just dip into it and do a few minutes exercise. That's very good. Do you see what we're doing now? Just turning the waist and swinging. And for warm down, I like to just pat everything. But for now, I want you to make sure you're getting your kidneys at the back. Good, and let's go down the legs. Cupping the hands and patting. So this is another way to help the mind focus. It's physical stimulus. So patting the body brings the mind clearly to each area that you pat. And by doing that, you're also focusing the energy. So we say where your mind goes, your energy follows. And where your energy goes, your strength follows. So if your mind is not focused, everything is a bit wishy-washy. But as soon as your mind comes into focus, your energy will focus, your strength will focus. Good, let's come back to center. There's so many ways of doing that. Very good. Last thing I would say to you is please have a nice cup of a hot drink after class. Stay hydrated. Sometimes when we're feeling foggy and unable to focus, it's as simple as we're thirsty or we're hungry. Same, sometimes you might feel quite ill, and if you've managed to miss a meal, like I did the other day, I put a pizza in the oven and forgot about it, and then when it was evening time, I was like, I'm starving. I hadn't had dinner. So, you know, sometimes just a little bit of normal maintenance. Make sure your fluids are up. Make sure you've had enough to eat. Make sure you've had enough sleep. Make sure you've had a little bit of exercise. Make sure you've had some fresh air. Stimulate your body with gentle movement. And you can always do a bit of Emmett. Do you remember? Third eye, middle of the, is it the nape? Where the neck meets the head, and point to the third eye for a few seconds and release. You can do that as often as required, and you can make nice. Do you remember? Thumb to the third eye, middle finger to the crown, brush, pinch, lift off, and release. Good. Let us finish with 100 ailments go away. Flop the hands slightly in front, bend the knees a little bit and bounce, lifting and bouncing either just off the floor for a softer version, or hit the floor with a little bit, just the last centimeter. You can go down onto the floor and send that gentle shock wave through the entire system. Good, and relax down. So we say 7 heel taps every day, 100 ailments go away. It works the nervous system, it works the bones, it frees up chi if there's any stagnation. It gives the whole system a bit of a bubble. So let it just settle now, please. Listen and feel into your body. Let go. Guide your hands to center, hug your elbows in. Feel the touch of your hands. That guides your awareness. Breathe into the touch of your hands. Feel the temperature of the hands flowing into your center. And where your mind goes, your energy follows. Where your energy goes, you become stronger. Beautiful, well done. Relax down, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you have enjoyed the class, and I hope you get a chance to use the video for revision. I look forward to seeing you all next week. Have a good one. Nice hot cup of tea now. All right, thank you. Take care.